Whether your Honda Fit is stock or it's on lowering springs, and you're trying to figure out whether it's worth it to get coilovers, hopefully this video helps you out. My personal question was, are Fortune Auto 500 coilovers worth it, especially for the Honda Fit? In this video, we find out. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we will be solving an issue that I'm having with the car right now. It's not major, but right now there's some slight rubbing issues. So during high-speed turns and hairpins, whichever side is under load, the tire is actually rubbing against the fender liner. And then the back of the car will rub when there's 4 to 5 people in the car, so we're gonna fix that. There's a decent gap because it's only on Swift springs, yet it still rubs. With coilovers, it's gonna be much lower, so we're definitely gonna have to address this issue. All right, so we're gonna start with the rear. This is actually my first time fender rolling, so I will be learning as we go through this, and hopefully you guys can learn too. I got this on Amazon for very cheap. Hopefully it does the job. So from my understanding, turning this will tilt this forward or backwards, and then this handle behind this red part will actually adjust this angle. I definitely don't need to extend this, so we're just gonna put it all the way down and just lock that in place. So I think I got it to a decent position where there's the slightest pressure to keep this up. And I know a lot of people recommend to heat up the fender a little bit so that the paint doesn't crack. So that's what we're gonna do. Also, a good tip online, someone actually mentioned to take out the dirt inside the lip so that it's able to fold properly and all the way. I can't seem to find a way to shorten this, so what I did was heat it up, and I'm gonna start it off with using a mallet. I think I'm having this issue because it is a smaller wheel well and it's a small car, so let's just see what happens. All right, that actually worked. It started the folding, and I'm just gonna continue it now with the fender roller so that it's all pretty even throughout. Then I use this tool from Eastwood to completely fold the lip. There's a lot more room to lower the car safely now. The one piece that kept rubbing was the screw at the end of the bumper. I unscrewed that and cut some of the black plastic piece. I also cut a little bit of the bumper. Now on the front, I started by removing all the plastic tabs. There's about 3 or 4 along the edge of the fender. You can see the metal tabs that need to be rolled. They actually stick out a good amount. The front is actually much easier to roll. We're finally here. Been waiting over 2 months for this, actually. Oh man. So yeah, these are Fortune Auto 500 coilovers, mainly for street use, but there's a twist. It's not your regular green coilovers. Oh man, look at that. Holy sh**. This is all black with Swift springs. I'm pretty sure I got blue collars. I'm not sure why they came in black, but I like it either way. I mean, I'm trying to go for a low-key look underneath the car. So here they are, Fortune Auto 500s with Swift springs, anodized in black instead of that green and blue combo. I ordered these from Cygnus Performance. They have a bunch of colors from you to choose from. I did go with the recommended spring rates, which are 6K and 8K. I'm really stoked with how these look. Pop this cover off. Now use a wrench and something to hold the shock to twist the nut off. The Monroe shocks and lowering springs were actually still in good condition, but it's time for the upgrade. Use the 14mm to remove the bottom of the shock. When you disconnect both sides, the axle beam will lower, allowing the springs to come out. That's a drastic difference in size between the coilover spring and the lowering spring. We're gonna need this bushing from the old shock. It's not pictured here, but I put the old rubber seat from the old spring to the new spring, so it sits nice and snug. Jack the beam up until the spring can barely move. Now twist the bottom of the shock so it lines up with the hole. Put the new bushing and washer in. And bolt down the bottom bolt. Now for the front, unclip the sensor from the strut. This is the bottom of the sway bar end link, so use a wrench and an Allen key to unbolt it. Remove the top and bottom bolt holding the strut to the knuckle. The top of the strut was a little annoying. Again, use a wrench and an Allen key to remove the bolt. It was really seized on there. Breaking it loose took a lot of force. The whole strut assembly will now drop. You're just gonna need a few pieces from the old setup. And that's the whole assembly. Now we can set the preload. To do that, we just spin the top collar until the spring is compressed about 1/4 of an inch. If the spring is still loose, keep spinning the collar until it compresses. I kept a bungee cord on just to keep the axle from coming out. Lift the coilover up through the hole and slide a bolt in to keep it up. After you jack up the suspension, you can bolt up the top portion. And finish tightening the lower 2 bolts. Now for the tie rod end links. You won't be able to get the end links to the same length as OEM since they're much shorter, and that's okay. The way the Fortunato coilovers are designed, you're able to adjust the height at which the end link connects to the strut. On a regular strut, it's a fixed position. The final length of the end links were then adjusted during the alignment. I remember when I adjusted the rebound on all my coilovers before, when I made it full soft or full hard, it really didn't make a difference. This is different though. So adjusting only the rears to full soft, I'll show you the travel that it has if I were to just go up and down in the car. And then this is how it is on full hard. There's a big difference between the two, and adjusting it obviously changes the ride quality drastically. So we've been driving this car for a month now, and I can tell you how it is on a day-to-day basis. Right now, this is a very bumpy road. I'm on full soft in the front and 5 clicks hard in the back. You guys already know, I mean, the ride of the Honda Fit stock is already not extremely smooth, like let's say a BMW or something. So it's not the smoothest thing, but it's very compliant. I don't know if this is a bold statement, but comfort-wise, I'd say this is very similar to the Swift lowering springs. Now, when it comes to performance, I mean, this is way more planted than the springs. The lowering springs I've had for about a year now, so I've used it for most of my ownership on the car, and they're very good. They're very good for a daily if you're not looking to autocross much or anything. The main thing is I wanted to lower the car because the lowering springs just didn't lower it enough. And then on top of that, I did want a little bit of a more firm ride because it would sway a bit on hairpins. So one thing I noticed in Texas is the speed on the highway is absurd, like 75 miles an hour or something. So you are going like 80, 85. And the highways have these really long dips. They're not steep, they're not jarring, but they dip, I guess, where the concrete pieces connect, I guess. And on the Swift springs, I noticed when you dip, right after that, it bounces maybe 3-4 times before it settles. Whereas on the coilovers, after it dips, it settles into a stationary state a lot faster, but it's not jarring either. So I'd say these coilovers do handle those bumps a lot better. You guys did see the autocross video and I really enjoyed how it handled. I don't know too much about autocrossing, but spirited driving on the street, it's great. There's no complaints on the coilovers. I did have a clunking noise at low speeds, but that wasn't the coilovers, it was the end links. So make sure you install the end links properly from a shop or something, or if you do have a lift, you can do that as well. But any low speed clunking is most of the time the end links, and you just have to adjust them properly so they're not binding when there's weight. I mean, it has a lot less body roll even with the front and back on full soft. Minus the fact that it came in all black. I did order blue collars. I'll probably fix that order down the road, but how they perform, they're great. Do I recommend them? I do recommend them for daily driving. I don't know how well they would hold up on like circuit use or hard track use, but daily driving, 100%, awesome coilovers. I don't have experience with BC coilovers, unfortunately, so I can't compare the two, but I kind of just skipped over that and went Fortune Auto, and super happy. Yes, the car is filthy and the wheels are covered in brake dust, but I'm very happy with the height. It's not dumped to the ground, and there's no major wheel gap. For me, this is perfect for daily driving. So hopefully this video helped you guys out, whether it's rolling the fenders or installing the coilovers, or especially deciding whether or not to get the Fortune Auto 500 coilovers. Hopefully I'm getting this big project that's coming up next month. Don't worry, I'm still gonna have a lot of fit content, and we're gonna be going to a lot of events this year. So stay tuned. Hopefully you guys subscribe and like the video. And Toro says bye. Bye guys.